I had a family last year that it was just, I let the kids sit on my lap and, kind of steer the boat. And the mom wrote a really nice article and put it in their COPS newsletter up in Michigan there, and just commenting on how, her son, he used to do that with his daddy, and the fact that she got to see him experience that, again, even though their loved one is gone, was just, she saw her kid's face light up, and it just brought her back to when he used to do that with Dad.
Ranger Tim, as I'm told to call you. Super excited to have you on. Why don't we just dive right in, man? Let's talk a little bit about COPS, the conference that brings you out here this weekend, and your involvement.
Okay. Well, I'm a conservation warden for the state of Wisconsin. I've been actively involved with COPS for 15 years. I was stationed down in the southeast part of the state when COPS first came to Wisconsin, and I've been involved ever since. I live now up in northern Wisconsin, moved up there around 2006, but my agency, Wisconsin DNR, they let me come down for COPS Kids Camp every year. So I'm grateful for that opportunity, and this is my first year here attending the COPS National Conference here in Chicago. So
awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the event that you take part in up in Wisconsin.
Sure.
Why do they call you Ranger Tim?
Well, going back, I guess, 15 years ago, one of the COPS kids, 6 or 7-year-old, had called me Uncle Tim, and that lasted, the ages for the kids are between the ages of 6 and 14. So when those kids moved on, the name kind of went from Uncle Tim to Ranger Tim. And I guess as conservation wardens, we do have park rangers, and I think one of the mental health professionals, the way it works is down in Texas, they call them the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
And then so she started calling me Ranger Tim, and it just kind of stuck. And now they have a song that they sing and stuff. So it's good. It's all in good fun.
Awesome.
It's all about the kids, A
lot of people who are watching this don't know about these camps.
Okay.
So let's give them some context
Sure.
on who these kids are.
So these kids are cops, cops families, survivors of fallen law enforcement officers. It's the kids between the ages of 6 and 14 and the surviving adult, in most cases. Unfortunately, it's the surviving mom, because there's a lot more officers that die in the line of duty that are males, So, but yeah, kids between the ages of 6 and 14 are allowed to attend COPS Kids Camp. And then after COPS Kids Camp, they can go on to Outward Bound. There's a young adults camp through the COPS organization, and then there's an adults camp as well. So there's a lot of outreach programs for these families to try to help them cope with their losses.
That's awesome. How long have you been a part of this?
I've been a part of this for 15 years now. So
we had Keith on a little while ago,
Correct.
who's a state trooper, he was the oldest now surviving child who went through the program, if I'm not mistaken. Keith spoke very, very highly of the camp.
Okay.
And talked all about how he was able to connect with other kids who had lost their parents. What is it like from an outside perspective as someone who takes such a heavy role in running this to engage with these kids? What are they going through? What's that process like for them?
One of the takeaways is that these kids, it's like no one understands back home, in their local communities as to what they're actually going through. And here at camp, it's kind of described as like they're almost like on an island, and they've all experienced similar issues, and they all get it. You know what I mean? They all understand it. They form instant connections with each other. Those friendships remain forever. You know what I mean? So just the fact that they can be together and they can share in their story and their experiences, and just we're a loving blue family, and it's important that, I think the takeaway is that you form a family for life, whether it's the kids, the adults that are present at the camp, we as law enforcement officers, as mentors at the camp, it's important to us too, because it's like the little bit of help that we can give them when we're there. their dad or their mom paid the ultimate sacrifice, and for us it's like giving back, trying to help them a little bit, to cope with their loss, and anything we can do to help is I think the most important thing for these families, I mean it's important that we at least do something, because if they didn't have COPS, the COPS organization, it's all about rebuilding shattered lives, and if you didn't have an organization out there to do this kind of stuff, where would these families be today is the big thing. So,
no doubt. What do you want people to know as a takeaway who may be thinking about getting involved in COPS?
Well, it's hard to take that first step. I can't, obviously, I certainly can't relate, like to these families, but they've had such good experience, by coming to the COPS organization, doing programs like COPS Kids Camp, and it's something that's truly rebuilt their lives, and I guess it's hard to take that first step, to do something like that, but the joy that these kids, they're there for a week, I take the kids out fishing, and I had a family last year that it was just, I let the kids sit on my lap and, kind of steer the boat, and the mom wrote a really nice article and put it in their COPS newsletter up in Michigan there, and just commenting on how, her son, she hasn't seen him smile, like that when he was sitting on my lap and driving the boat, and he used to do that with his daddy, and the fact that she got to see him experience that, again, even though their loved one is gone, was just, she saw her kid's face light up, and it just brought her back to when he used to do that with dad. And I can't tell you, I've had so many moms tell me that, you take them out fishing, because we like to have the adults come, with the kids as well, and, they get experience fishing, baiting the hooks, they see their kids catching fish, and they build some confidence and get comfortable with fishing again, and they're like, you know what? She's like, we're gonna go home, we're gonna uncover that boat that's in the garage. Dad's boat's still sitting in the garage with a cover on it, hasn't been touched since the incident, and she's like, I'm gonna take that boat out and we're gonna go fishing. We can do this. Awesome. Go buy a cheap Walmart pole, buy some night crawlers,
yeah,
go out fishing. And it's like, how can you even, you can't even put a price tag on that. I mean, it's just, that's why we do this. You know what I mean? Man. Something as simple as that, to rebuild that confidence and that you can do this. You know what I mean? Your life is not over, because one event, and certainly I obviously cannot relate, but if we as law enforcement officers can help this organization to help, these families out, it's the least we can do, trying to give back to these families.
Well, and you're impacting them at the most crucial stage in their lives, when they're vulnerable and they're sponges and they've gone through a very difficult time. So the impact that you have on these kids is something that lasts a lifetime.
Correct.
All right, so let's talk about Law Enforcement United,
Sure.
Because I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard about that. You guys are generating some dough for cops to support the camp and other events. For those who aren't familiar with it, what is Law Enforcement United all about?
So Law Enforcement United is an organization that raises money specifically for COPS, the Officer Down Memorial Page, and then the Spirit of Blue Foundation. Last year we raised $750,000,
Wow.
of which we wrote COPS a check for $592,000.
That's incredible.
So it's what it is it's a group of bike riders, pedal bikers, that we have like 5 or 6 divisions, and we bike about 250 to 300 miles.
Wow.
And right before Police Week, National Police Week, on May 10th to the 12th, and then we all meet up on May 12th and bike into Washington, D.C.
It's awesome.
And then that kicks off National Police Week. So, but yeah, all of our monies that we raise goes to the COPS organization for the most part.
It's awesome.
Each rider has to raise a minimum of like $1,500.
Wow.
All our support staffers, they have to raise about $850. So I think last year we had close to like 500 bike riders,
Wow.
that participated. So at the end of the day, it was $750,000 raised, for these different organizations. So
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
How can people be a part of it?
well, if they wanted to be a part of it, you do have to be either an active law enforcement officer, a retired law enforcement officer, or you could be a survivor. So that's how you can become part of it.
Cool.
It's as simple as just doing some basic training. You know, of course, you got to have, you know, the bike and some other equipment.
Right.
But if there's officers, you know, other law enforcement officers that are out there, you know, that want to partake, you know, active or retired, you know, they can certainly reach out
Awesome.
to the organization. We have web pages devoted to each division. So there's like I said, there's like 5 different divisions, you know, and they can go online and just type in, you know, Law Enforcement United, and there's a lot of information right on the website that would explain how they can get involved, or just even for that matter, make donations, you know, to help us meet our goals, you know. Of our
Where do they go to do that? What's the
They
website?
can do that online. It's just leu.org, I believe they can type in. So
Awesome.
yeah, they can do it right online. So
Cool, man. Guys, all of this money goes to support some tremendous events and programs and obviously concerns of police survivors. So highly encourage you to check it out. Brother, thanks for coming on the
Awesome.
show,
Thank
man.
you so much.
We'll
Thanks
see you
for having
soon.
me.
See you Police Week.
awesome. Yep,
Excellent.
for sure.
Guys, thanks for sharing. God bless America.